what factors do you think play into women's health that, in your work you see? What is it that you would like to share?
Sure. I think the biggest thing that I see in working with South Asian women is the in order to improve emotional wellness, allowing them to work on their voice and prioritizing themselves. And that may mean different things to different women. And it doesn't mean that you are going to say, okay, I'm not going to help anyone. I'm not going to do anything for anyone. And that oftentimes women will internalize that and say, well, I can't prioritize myself. That's how is any my family going to function? How is my, how am I going to get things done? And so allowing them to say, okay, well, what does prioritizing yourself mean to you? And having them come up with that answer. And a lot of our work with South Asian women or South Asian community is you are all experts of your lives. We're just there to hold your hand and as providers and just help you through the journey so that you can live, be your better self, live the better life that you want to live. And so how do we help them have that voice? And so many of my colleagues here have mentioned that South Asian women carry and hold many roles and identities. And so how do we help them identify who they are individually? Yes, you're a mom. Yes, you're a daughter. Yes, you're a CEO of a company, but truly, what is your identity before any of that came about? And so how do we help them work through the self-sacrificing that they do and the suffering and silence that they do, and help them understand that they can build resilience to continue to do that? So how do we help them build the resilience, but also help them identify their own hopes and dreams and ways that they can, foster that individual identity in balance with what all those roles and other identities are. And so, as Preeti mentioned, self-compassion. And so how do we help them turn some of that selflessness that they show other folks? How do we help them turn that inwards, show themselves some of that compassion, help them identify, what are some supports outside of their family system? The friends that Preeti mentioned as well, and Baris mentioned, how do we help them find the support network outside of the family? Family is a huge support system. The culture, really fosters that, but we also need to have supports outside of the family that we can lean on when things get tough or hard. And then lastly, I was also going to mention this, that Preeti mentions as well, is how do we model these things for our children? How do we help our children not see us do these things as self-sacrificing? And so I catch myself so often, even though, my mom and my parents, always told us, like, the gender roles, we would see my dad cook, we would see my mom cook, they modeled different things for us, but culturally that wasn't modeled to us. So I still catch myself sometimes being hard on myself because, I had to order food from outside instead of cooking a homemade meal, or the dishes kept left in the sink overnight. And then I have to remind myself, if I had hurt my arm, let's say I broke my arm and I had a cast on it, would I really go and wash the dishes? No. So if I'm feeling mentally, like exhausted, I'm burned out, why am I going to go wash those dishes? I should treat that just as importantly as I would my physical health.